my name is Angela, and this is my brother Richie.
Hi.
And we're starting a new YouTube channel, Fan of Football 813. We're going to go through football teams, the pick of football teams for each week, especially for college football. This Thursday starts college football. So what we're going to do is actually go through the teams that will be playing on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as far as college football. And one on Monday for Labor Day for college football, and going through and picking who we think is going to win. Now, my brother Richie is definitely more into college football, knows the stats, knows the history, knows the players, where I will be picking dependent upon colors of the jersey, mascots, or anything that's really not relevant. Basically, just a random picks. So,
And just to say, for people that know, this is officially week 1, week 0, quote unquote, started Saturday, August 25th. And there were 4 games then, because I know if we skip over it, anybody watching that knows will be like, no, they started 4 games already, because that's what I do. Syracuse Orange against the Western Michigan Broncos. That's kind of an interesting one. Syracuse Orange is the ACC. They've been bad record-wise.
which one was it?
Syracuse. Okay. But their offense the last 2 years has been really good. Their quarterback is pretty good. The coach, he was a former assistant at Baylor years ago under Art Briles when Robert Griffin III was there, and when all those other quarterbacks were there, putting up 4,000 yards a year and leading the nation in offense and stuff. So, at Syracuse, their defense sucks. Western Michigan, last year they went 6-6 in the MAC, but a couple years ago they actually went undefeated and made a big time bowl game, and then they lost in the bowl game to Wisconsin. But over the last 10 years, Western Michigan has been pretty decent and pretty decent to good in the MAC. So that's why I'm saying this is kind of an interesting game because Western Michigan could come out with it. They're not. If Western Michigan wins, it'll be a bit of an upset, but not a huge one. So, but I still am gonna have to go with Syracuse.
So he's going for Syracuse, and I'm going for the upset, even if it'll be small. Monmouth versus Eastern Michigan.
Monmouth is a one to play. Eastern Michigan Eagles. They're historically the worst team in college football, basically. Eastern Michigan historically is the worst team in 1A, pretty much. However, 2 years ago they made a bowl game, won 8 games. I think it was 7 or 8. Last year they missed out 5-7, but they lost their quarterback. He's gone, but I think they have some decent running game going. But I think Eastern Michigan should be able to win this. So Michigan State Spartans, they're ranked 11th in the country against Utah State Aggies. There's another Aggie.
Another Aggie.
Utah State Aggie, past 10 years, they've actually been good, mediocre to good in the Mountain West. But Michigan State is expected, clearly they're coming in ranked 11th. They're expected to be one of the better, or one of the best teams in the Big Ten, if not the country. I'm going to go Michigan State.
Okay, I'm going to go Michigan State. Army versus Duke. So for me, whenever there is an Army, Navy, Air Force has a football team, right? Any of the military teams, I will always go for the military team. So I'm going to go for Army. I don't care if they suck or not. They're military.
They are actually good. Last year they won 10 games for the first time in 21 years.
Nice. Are they winning?
Yes. Army West Point Black Knights against the Duke Blue Devils. Army is independent. Duke is in the ACC. Duke made a bowl last year. Duke historically is not good in football, but the last 10 years they've been pretty solid. They made bowl games probably about half the time, I guess. This one's a really tough one because Army is a triple option team, which is really hard to defend.
What does that mean? Triple
It's a kind of offense that used to be more prevalent in college football, but it's mostly a running. They run a lot. Like they were top four nationally in rushing offense last year, if not number one. I can't remember. Usually between Army, Navy, Air Force, and Georgia Tech, because they all run the triple option. Usually those four teams are the top four in rushing. Every now and then, Wisconsin will be up there, and past like last year or two, Tulane's kind of been close. And Wisconsin doesn't run a triple option. They're one of the best teams nationally. They recruit. The kind of offense they run is just rushing, and I'll explain more. We'll get to them. But between Army and Duke, I probably will have to go with Army. I think Duke may have, because the military schools also have a recruiting disadvantage because they don't get all the biggest and fastest. Because to join them, you have to join the military, and not everybody wants to join the military.
But I do appreciate everyone that does join them.
So, but because of that offense, Duke has had all off season to get ready for it. So Duke may be ready for it, but it's still a really difficult offense too, especially the military academies who've been. Army has only recently changed to that offense in the last like 3 years, but generally they have it down to a T. Like it's almost impossible to stop. Even when they play the best teams in the country, the best teams will struggle. They'll beat them, but they'll struggle.
Against Army.
Yeah, against Army, Navy, or Air Force.
Because they're military. Of course they'll struggle.
Well, it's part of it. It's because because they're military, because they're more disciplined, they commit fewer penalties, which is a big deal. They're more assignment sound. Even that's how they get around their physical or talent disadvantages by being more sound, more fundamentally sound, more technical. They're better at certain things. So yeah.
Which is a good thing. Western Kentucky versus Wisconsin.
So it's the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers against the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin is actually coming into this year ranked number 4 in the country.
Wow.
So we'll start with Western Kentucky. They made a bowl last year. They're in the CUSA. The past years they've had a really good offense, but they lost their quarterback. They're kind of starting over. Wisconsin they're ranked number 4 for a reason. They have maybe one of the top Heisman candidates at their running back position. Jonathan, I gotta check his name. But this is for Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin.
Okay. Jonathan Taylor. So Jonathan Taylor, as a freshman, as a true freshman, that means he started immediately when he came out of high school. He was 18 years old, first year playing college football. He ran for 1,977 yards. He almost ran for 2,000 yards as a freshman. He's basically everybody's top or one of their top Heisman candidates for this year. He's part of the reason why they're ranked number 4. So I think they will win pretty big in this game.
Wisconsin?
If Wisconsin loses, that will be a huge upset.
Okay, so then I will be going for Western Kentucky then. San Diego State versus Stanford. So they're both in California.
San Diego State is in the Mountain West. The past few years, they've been one of the best teams in the Mountain West and one of the better teams in the Group of 5, period. Yes. Last year, they had Rashad Penny, who ran for 2,100 something yards, led the nation in rushing, did not even get invited to the Doak Walker Awards, which goes to the nation's best running back, after he beat Stanford and Arizona State, 2 Pac-12 teams. I'm getting on my soapbox for a minute. Last year, Stanford, they have Bryce Washington back at running back. Bryce, I don't think it's Washington. I may have fucked it up. Bryce Love, my bad. Bryce Love, he was finished second in the Heisman last year. He's coming back this year. He's another Heisman candidate. Stanford is ranked 13th going into this year. Last year, Rashad Penny ran for like 175 or whatever yards against Stanford. Beat them. Beat Bryce Love, who had a great game. They beat them. Rashad Penny did not even get invited to the Doak Walker Awards. I don't know how you lead the nation in rushing and beat the team that has a running back that's at the Doak Walker Awards and not even get invited. It's because they're in the group of 5 and elitists are ridiculous. They should have gone. All right, end of soapbox. That being said, San Diego State has a running back named Juwan Washington. He was the backup last year, ran for like 700 yards. Watch out for him. I'm going to say this now because last year Rashad Penny ran for 2,000 yards. The year before that, Donnell Pumphrey, who was the running back at San Diego State, he ran for 2,000 yards. San Diego State, the last 2 years, the first team in NCAA history to have 2 consecutive 2,000-yard rushers, and they were two different people. So, and Donnell Pumphrey 2 years ago broke the NCAA record for rushing yards in a career. That being said, Juwan Washington, pencil him in for at least 1,500 rushing yards this year. And they have a really good chance of upsetting Stanford.
San Diego State.
San Diego State. That is a key game. Stanford, they have one of the best running backs in the country. Their quarterback is meh. He's mediocre.
I think of Homer when you say that.
He's mediocre. They lost some stuff on their defense. They should be solid. As much as I want to go with San Diego State, I'm going to have to go with Stanford and pick them to win. But mark that one down. Do not be surprised if San Diego State wins that game.
And look out for
Juwan Washington, the running back for San Diego State.
So if San Diego State wins, it's going to be an upset.
It will be.
Guess which one I'm going for?
It's one of the most possible upsets of the weekend, though.
Portland State versus Nevada.
Portland State is a 1AA team. Nevada Wolfpack. They went 5-7 last year. Bad defense, offense kind of. I think they went 5-7. They might have gone worse, to be honest. I don't remember. They had a losing record.
Gone worse.
Gone worse, yes. They might have had a worse record than 5-7. All I know is they had a losing record, but their offense kind of kicked it in. Their quarterback, if I remember right, is Ty Ganji. He's not bad at all. Nevada should win that game. Okay. They may come in for a goal this year, maybe.
I'll go for Nevada as well. And then Colorado versus Colorado State.
Colorado is a decent Pac-12 team. They went 5-7 last year after the year before winning at least Buffaloes. Yeah, 2 years ago they actually won their division in the Pac-12 and went to the Pac-12 championship game before losing, they kind of came out of nowhere because the year before they won like 2 games, but then last year they slipped back down to 5-7. But Colorado State, they lost their quarterback, but they had a quarterback transfer in from Washington to play as a senior. And in the game this past weekend, even though Colorado State lost to Hawaii, Colorado State came back. They were down 37-7. They came back and almost won. They only lost 43-34. The quarterback for Colorado State, KJ Carter-Samuels, he passed for 518 yards and 5 touchdowns. So that's also could be a very close game.
Colorado State what?
Rams.
What are their jersey colors?
Like green and gold. And Colorado's like black and gold.
They're both Colorado. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with. So Colorado has a running back that transferred in there as well from Virginia Tech. So I'm gonna go with Colorado.